welcome to Both Sides Now Table Talk. And, I'm here with Serena Presland-White in Alberta, Muembo. And we're sitting outside, spaced properly, just in case you're wondering. But, it's Mother's Day. And we just, decide we would just do something special. You get to know us a little bit. We want to do a little something special for you for this Mother's Day because we think highly of mothers.
A woman who will lay her life down to a degree for her family.
When I think of the word mother, I think nurturer. I think administrator.
I think about a caring person, gentle.
Counselor, cheerleader.
Person that's always sacrificing their needs and putting the needs of her kids first.
The glue that holds everything together. That's what I think of when I think of mother.
I think the role of the mother is incredibly important at this time in this 21st century.
The roles of mothers is a little bit like a butterfly, because at one moment they can be the pillar of the family.
Well, I think the most significant roles that mothers bring, again, I think really is a lot to do with nurturing. I mean, mothers are carrying those babies for 9 months. They're usually the first ones that they're bonding with.
I think she brings a sense of joy, but I also think she brings a sense of understanding.
At the other moment, they can be they play several roles. I don't see them playing a specific role because they support the children and then they have to support the husband.
She's the one who will bring the family around the supper table and share common stories, shared interests, asking, probing.
Moms are the ones that have everything, they keep everything running, they keep everything going, and it provides, again, constancy and stability for the family.
When the mother is down, it's like the entire family is just down.
I think a mother is, and her role is sometimes not always recognized. And I think that we could probably do more justice actually to what the role of a mother plays in our 21st century. A mother has a very complex relationship with her children.
Especially with adult children, as they grow older, you start to realize that there's a lot of complexities.
From what I see, the mother can even mask their own feelings just to make you feel comfortable.
Mothers are, well, they carry the baby for 9 months and then they birth the baby and then they feed and they nurture. And so I think the complexities of the intertwining of the physical, the emotional, and the mental, and as well as the spiritual, I think is very intense.
I think the most complex thing for a mother is a mother feels so responsible for their child.
The complexity, I think, as the child grows up is the ability to let go and let the child experience life in all its diversities, and sometimes a mother has a hard time cutting the strings, and I think that complexity can be sometimes a little bit hard.
I think that mothers can subtly move a child emotionally, and I think that's the most complex things that as children are getting older, they have to kind of break out of, okay, what is good and what is my mom's expectations. Obviously, in terms of time, most mothers are working outside their homes, and I think the biggest challenge is that mother's job is never done.
You have work, and then you have the family needs, and also you have your own personal needs.
Balance. Time and balance. I think that's one of the biggest things that I hear from mothers, is how to balance everything.
Mothers feel responsible all the time, and so they could go to work all day long and they come home, they're still looking after the family, looking after the home, and so I think that gets very complex.
It's all those things together, they're conflicting within you, so I think that's really, it's very challenging.
The ability to balance all the different hats that a mother will have to wear, and sometimes the inability to have enough time to do every job well.
I think in today's society it's even more than even 10 years ago.
My mom's generation, maybe in the beginning, they didn't have all this conflicting, like most of the women stayed home, they were still housewives. and even my aunts were housewives, so they didn't have lots of tasks or lots of roles to play. But today with the economy, both husbands and wives should work, so it's very challenging.
But I also think that the issues in today's society are very complicated for raising children. I think it was a little simpler at one time, and I think there's so much coming at parents where they have to stay on top of what their children are learning and what's happening here, and I think that is adding a lot of strain to mothers in particular.
Well, I had a few mother figures in my life, and the fondest memory, I would say, from my biological is laughter. The second, for those who were mother figures or mentors in my life, would have been fun and food, because I love good food. I've got introduced to some great Mennonite cooking.
My mom is she's very gentle, but she's a lion in the heart, and she never gives up, never ever. I've never seen her giving up on anything or on anyone. Yeah.
I'll tell you a little story that really makes me smile with my mom. So my mom loves to garden, and I mean, she loves to garden so much that she would rent land when she had a small backyard just so she could garden. So here she is. This is one time when she was living on an acreage, and my mom and I decided that we would take an organic gardening class together. And we were sitting in a little room, and there was maybe 15 people in the class. And the instructor was trying to teach us that the way you get to know your soil is get to know the bugs in your garden. And all of a sudden I had this mental image, and my mom did at the same time, of us sitting in the middle of her football field of garden, investigating our bugs. And we both broke up, and we began to snicker and laugh and giggle, and we couldn't stop giggling. And the instructor was looking at us like, why don't you behave yourselves? We're sitting in a class, and my mom and I were going back and forth. We got the giggles so hard, because you can imagine looking at a little bug in a football field. So we had to leave the class early. That was probably my fondest memory of my mom. But her mom was like that. My grandma used to take her out her teeth and say, do you find me attractive? I mean, she was just goofy, right? So that's probably the fondest.
I took the height in terms of appearances. I got the height from her side of the family. And the other thing is that I think the idea of loving people came from her. That came from her, yeah, because my dad is very quiet.
Well, probably how I'm like my mom the most, and I think I've grown to understand this, is my mom is probably one of the most hospitable people I've ever met in my life. My mom would bring in everybody into her home. So if there was a stray kid that I was hanging out in high school, didn't have a place to go, they could come. It didn't matter how messy our house was. It didn't matter anything. Everybody was always welcome. And I think I've got some of that because I'm a gatherer, and I'm always, so I think that there's probably where there's a similarity is I love to gather people and nurture them in the home.
I would say probably, again, laughter and fun. You always like to have fun, and I love fun. Yeah.
Difference is that she always makes the first move. I never make the first move. People make the first move, and then I make sure that the relationship is maintained. But she always goes to get the things done first.
I'm more actually quieter, and I think a lot. I think I process a lot more than my mom would. Yeah, and I'm a lot taller. She was only 5 feet.
Well, I'm a total extrovert, and my mom's an introvert. And so I get my energy being around people, and my mom would rather just sit one-on-one.
Like I said, she always likes to take action. Even for us to come to Canada, it was her who sacrificed everything. She used to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, go to the UN, stay in the line as long as it took just for us to get our documents filled. So many things, like being in school, it was hard even to be admitted at the university. She's a go-getter. My dad is very quiet, very reserved, and more on the books, but my mom is, go-getter.
From the mother figures that have been in my life, wisdom, really some just real depths in wisdom. And the other would be listening ear. There was one mentor that I had in my life. She was really lovely. She would listen to me for a long time.
Well, again, I appreciate that my mom is, she's just so full of mercy. She probably has a gift of mercy. She's extremely compassionate for like the underdog. Again, not only did she raise all of us kids, but then she went and took on foster children, and then she adopted kids, and then she continues to take on like international students and people. So my mom has a real gift of mercy, and she's got a very generous heart to all people groups.
What I respect the most is that she brought herself up. At the age of 9, her parents were divorced, and granddaddy got married to several other wives because at that time he wasn't a Christian, and they were not nice to my mom. My mom is the firstborn. They made her do all the chores before going to school. Even though she did all the chores before and after school, she still got very good grades. But she brought herself up, and look at who she is today. You wouldn't know. Yeah, that's what I respect. I have both parents, and sometimes I can't do certain things, but she never had the love of both parents, because grandfather traveled a lot. He was never at home every time. So growing up as if she was an orphan, she became someone as if she had the love of both parents. Yeah, she said that she was listening to what her stepmoms were telling their kids, like, don't do this, do that. And then that's how she learned that she's supposed to do this and not that. Yeah.
I would say probably laughter and adventure. My mom loved both of those.
Well, I think the part that I respect the most about my mom is she's a very strong woman. She's had to overcome a lot in her life. And I think about, for starters, she came into the city of Saskatoon with 5 children. She had just left my dad. She didn't even have her grade 12 education. She was a small town girl, and she had to try to come into this big city and raise kids all by herself. She was one of the founding women of Interval House. She actually didn't even have her education. She helped around, dealing with battered women, etc. My mom overcame an awful lot, and I think I have a lot of respect for her, of all the things she's had to overcome.
I have to say, I have loved being able to love. That is one of the greatest things that I have just enjoyed as a mother, seeing myself in a little being and be able to love and just experience life with them. When you become a mother, you want that child to see every new thing and every part of the world. I mean, it was like reading a new book. Yeah.
What I like about being a mom is, well, I enjoy family so much, and I enjoy hanging out with our kids, just talking. Our family's very adventurous, so all of our kids now have learned how to travel, and we often do that. I enjoy meals together. I think it's those kind of things that I really enjoy being a mom, and I enjoy those one-on-one times when you've been able to really connect meaningfully.
Oh, I had a lot of them. I think the fondest was the laughter and the playtime, the long talks, the tough questions, working things out with them, and coming to a really great resolve between each of us.
Oh, probably our crazy holidays, especially when we were so poor, and we would just literally pack up a vehicle, a broken down vehicle, and we'd just get in there, grab our tent, grab our stuff, and away we'd go. It didn't matter. And so we always did that with our kids. And I think those have been the fondest memories, gathering wood together, sitting around a fire together, just doing things simply. Those have been the fondest memories. Anytime we're, and even now, cut off from electronics and media, and we hang out together at the lake, that is just awesome. We play games late into the night.
Understanding their identity, even though they're from the same mother, each one of them carries such a difference of personality. Yeah.
The most difficult things about being a mom, I think, is you can't protect them from everything.
For me, it was not wanting to always this comes to letting go, not wanting to always protect them over every little thing. Yeah. Letting them experiencing the bumps and the bruises of life.
It's harder for me as a mother of, I think, grown, young adults. is because you can't tell them don't do this and do this. They don't always listen. And you know, they might not have listened so much when they're younger, but when they're older, you have to let them make choices, and you're thinking, I wish that they would do this instead. And I think that's the hardest for me. Oh my, now being a grandma, that's another deal. I think, well, every grandma will say this, I think, is although you obviously care about your grandchildren, there's just not the sense of pressure like there is as a mom. Like as a mom, you're so worried about how everything's going to turn out. As a grandma, you've learned a lot over the years. You just don't get as stressed. If they don't do something by this stage, you're going, whatever, it'll be okay. When you're a mom, especially a young mom, you're like panicking about everything, right? And you're just a lot more relaxed in that way with grandchildren. You can smooch them and enjoy them. And then when they're naughty and you're tired, you can give them back. So that's always good.
We've been talking a little bit about, mothers and our experience with our mothers, and really fond memories that we've had, and challenges that mothers have as well too. And so, this is what we want to do today, is we want to wish you a happy Mother's Day. But a couple of things, Serena, what would you want to tell moms today?
Yeah, I just want to wish all the mothers out there a happy Mother's Day, and just to spread some hope and just some real goodness in this weekend, and go out and enjoy the beautiful weather. It's finally spring, and just want to wish you just lots and lots of love. Lots of love.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Alberta, what would you want to wish the moms out there?
I also want to send them lots of love and courage, because it's not easy, it's challenging. There's the pandemic, and everyone is stressed. Even kids are stressed because no one enjoys wearing the mask, even though we have to wear it to protect one another and other things. But there's a lot of kids, toddlers, who are also feeling the pressure. They don't enjoy seeing people with masks. So just I want to encourage you to just stay strong, stay positive, and yeah, we're sending you lots of love.
Yeah. And when I'm thinking about moms, I think what I'd like to say to you, and I'm a mom, but I'm also a grandmother, and I want to just say to you moms out there, well done. Well done.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you, motherhood is not an easy thing. As you're talking about, Alberta, motherhood is probably one of the most challenging jobs, and often it can feel like it's not very thankful job. Alberta had mentioned earlier that there's a lot of sacrifice that goes on in mothers, because the mother's heart is to sacrifice. But the challenge for mothers, and I'm thinking even of young mothers, mothers often feel like they didn't do everything well, and they're failing, or they're worried about their kids. And there's all of that stuff that goes on for mother. But I'm saying, you know what? You're the perfect mother for your kids.
Yeah.
You were just perfect for them in every way. Even if things have been challenging for you, they needed what you've put into them, and you're a good match. And well done. Just, you need to give yourself a pat on the back. And as Serena said, enjoy the day. And you know what? It's good to let go of some of the responsibilities for one day. It's really helpful to your family. But something else, if things don't go exactly how you want them to go, let that go too, and enjoy anyway. Happy Mother's Day.
Bless
Have a
you.
great day. Yeah, see ya.